Welcome to Quaker Lake, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new landscape photography vlog. Today, if I'm being honest, was probably the first, last second photo trip I've made in a long time. Mainly because we were supposed to get lots of severe weather today, thunderstorms, things like that, even some isolated tornado risks. And while that definitely is true, it's been kind of like sporadic throughout, Western New York, the southern tier, central New York. And, just got back home from the gym, just finished making dinner. I look at the radar after thinking all day that it's kind of a bust for our area. And I see a massive line of storms right over the park. And then I fast forward, the Doppler radar a bit to about an hour 50 later. Not super far out. I'm thinking it'll probably be accurate enough. And there's another pocket of severe weather that's supposed to go right over Quaker Lake. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't, done one of these little sporadic sort of send it trips in a while. So that's what I did. I got in the car, grabbed my bag, and just sent it. And lo and behold, all of those storms shifted south into, I want to say around Bradford, Pennsylvania. So if you can take a look at a map, see where ASP is, and look where Bradford, PA is, they kind of went from being at the top of Quaker Lake, right where I am, right at the edge, shifting down south, even maybe further south now. And I was hoping that would be sort of my Goldilocks opportunity to catch bolts over Quaker Lake, which eludes me to this day. But I am still happy with the conditions that I have, so I'm trying to make the best out of this trip and salvage it. I will admit I was a little disappointed when I saw the radar the closer I got to the park, but I'm eager to make something work with the little bit of time I have here. Normally I would have gotten here probably at least 2 hours earlier for a typical evening shoot, but I think I arrived at about 6:30, sunsets just after 8 o'clock. But we do have some pretty dramatic skies off to the north here, northwest, off towards the south east. Not looking too great, kind of just flat gray. And, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to try to make it work. And I think that's kind of the lesson of today's video. Not only just about expectations, but, just kind of drive home the point that no trip is a wasted trip. And I think I probably have said this before on the channel, but, I obviously came down here with the hopes of thunderstorms. I didn't get them. So do we just pack up and leave? No, of course not. I'm going to, A, enjoy the time I'm spending here, and B, again, try to focus on some other subjects that I actually found on Friday. It's Tuesday now. I was here in the same exact spot on Friday, sort of, I don't want to say scouting. I feel like I've explored this western bank of Quaker Lake quite a bit, but I did discover a few compositions, and I'm hoping today maybe I can nail them a bit better, and this being one of them right here in front of me, this fallen log acting as a nice diagonal on the bottom of the frame. We have some hills out there, some lovely spring color coming in. There's even a little bit of fog rising up off the lake right now too, and it just looks absolutely wonderful. The lake isn't perfectly glass. There's a little sort of ripple coming in with that breeze we have coming in from the southwest. But yeah, I'm going to make it work, and I'm excited to see where this evening takes me. I may drive around to the other side of the park to go up to Bridal Falls, and hoping with the torrential downpour this park just got maybe 2 hours ago, hoping that maybe that fall will be really flowing, though I highly doubt it. I have seen bald eagles and ospreys flying about. I even saw a osprey dive into the water, right when I pulled into the spillway parking lot up there before moving over here. So who knows, maybe some wildlife will work out. I think there might be 2 common loons out there. I don't know how well you guys can see them. They probably look like specks on the video screen right now, but maybe we can do something with that. But right now I quite like this scene that I have set up here. I'm trying to decide on whether or not I want to do like a long exposure or because when the water smooths out with some of these longer exposures, because I'm doing a bracket, it does look really, really nice. So I'm going to figure that out. I might try vertical orientation as well. But yeah, this is just to give you an idea of what I'm shooting here. This downed log, which is acting as a nurse log for this, what I assume to be maybe a willow or some kind of shrub here, and then all this nice scenery in the background. So I'll go ahead and zoom in the video so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. But right there, this down tree, which I've actually photographed before in the winter time, and it's actually one of my favorite compositions here, is reflecting in such a way right here. Whereas if I focus in on this tail end where the reflection gets like, for the lack of a better word, really squiggly, it honestly looks really, really cool with the light and dark contrast on either side of it. I'm zooming in all the way to 200 and popping my polarizer off just to get a faster shutter speed so I can actually capture those ripples as I'm seeing them in real time. And I think it could maybe make for a decent sort of abstract reflection. I've been trying to do a lot of those over the spring, and I haven't really tried for one lately because I haven't really found something worth going after, but I think this is like one of the first things I've actually seen in a while that's really piquing my interest. So I'm just going to stand here a couple minutes more and, you know, rapid fire continuous and see what it turns into. Maybe it turns into nothing, maybe it turns into something, who knows. So it's probably been, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes since I last talked to you guys, and I came back over to this spot because the conditions just got so much better from when I first got here. There was a lot more fog moving across the water, and these clouds over here just looking a lot better. And right now, they're actually starting to catch some really lovely light. And I was kind of hoping I would get that as a good plan B, but I figured maybe there would just be too much cloud, too much rain in the distance to kind of block that, but there is some great color coming in. So I'm actually gonna move my camera back over here and retake this shot. This will be like the third time today that I am retaking this one composition. I don't know if you guys can see it behind me, but the hills are starting to light up with just some gorgeous light. This will certainly make up for the lack of thunderstorms in my book. Now, I think earlier I said something, oh my, look at this light. Well, that bracket goes, look at this. Oh man, look at that. Wow. I might run back over to that other composition over there. This reminds me of the time I came here last summer for a rainbow. And the conditions over here look great. Look at the fog rolling in off the lake. Oh, I'm being pulled in two directions right now. That light window could close very, very easily. All right, let's do one more bracket here. Let that roll. And then I'm gonna run over here to this other spot. All right. I'm gonna leave my bag here. Ooh. Let's take our first bracket. This one I'll probably crop to a square like I have in the past. Let's see how that's looking. Maybe I'll Zoom in a bit more. These are some pretty epic conditions. Getting rained on a little bit, just some rain falling off the branches. I don't think it's actually raining. Otherwise, we might get a magnificent rainbow right here. One can hope. Yeah, I think earlier I mentioned something about going to the Bridal Falls, but I think leaving this spot right now would be foolish. Yeah, I think it would be. All right, the light here is fading a bit. Yeah. I definitely think it would be foolish of me to leave now just for the waterfall, which honestly probably doesn't have any more flow, because that's what I'm going to tell myself. But these conditions are really nice, and I feel like I've been splitting myself too much recently, where I'll come out here and have an itinerary of like, I want to go to this spot, then this spot, then this spot, right? And kind of like be in that last spot right as, golden hour hits. But I feel like maybe that's something I should stop doing. I just try to cover as much ground as I possibly can, and I know that's probably spreading myself a little too thin in some cases. I mean, some days it works out wonderfully. Other days, as you can imagine, it doesn't always work out super great. So I'm going to just double down and hang out here at Quaker Lake, and sunset's in about 30 minutes, so fingers crossed we get some more light. I don't know if that's going to be the last showing that we'll get. Hopefully it isn't. All right, so I did leave that spot just a few minutes ago and drove down the road maybe a quarter mile at most, because I really wanted to check out these lovely blooming trees that I could see down from the other spot I was, and I noticed them a few days prior when I was here last, and they were flowering quite a bit actually. They're not flowering as much right now, but there are still some flowers left on the branches, and I've got the 600 set up. That way I can photograph some of these lovely blooming tree branches against the waters of Quaker Lake. I wanted to do a photo like this for so long, but never really had the opportunity for it, because you got to be up elevated over the right branch, at the right time of the year, and easier said than done, right? And as you can see over there, I don't know how well you can see, but there's some really lovely color taking to the sky, and these clouds are moving so fast. So I'm wondering if I can grab this shot here and get down to the bank and maybe try and rip a long exposure, that maybe we can put together something cool. But I gotta act fast in order to do that. I gotta put this polarizer on. All right, so I managed to make it down to the banks here. As you can see, the color is just phenomenal. You can even see behind me it's starting to light up a little bit. I'm trying a few compositions here, a couple with the shoreline here as it kind of zigzags its way into that right third. I don't know why you guys can see it, but it kind of just goes whoosh, whoosh. That was probably a really bad way of explaining my decision making, but I think it probably does the job. Polarized, and these water ripples right now are absolutely crazy too, by the way. And the exposure that I have right now is just blurring them slightly, which I kind of like, honestly. I'm gonna up the ISO just a little bit to get just a tiny bit faster shutter speed, to try to maintain some detail there. But this is like a really nice, like, pastel type of sunset that we're getting right now. It's not super extravagant, though. I'm sure if I could see behind this hillside over here, it would look absolutely nuclear. I'm sure Wolf Run looks absolutely mind-boggling right now, but there's no way I'd be able to make it over there in time. But yeah, now that I think about it, I've actually never been down to this part of the lake here, this exact bank. And really, really nice view. I mean, it's nothing like groundbreaking, but it's always nice to see a familiar spot in a different light. But I mean, just look at that behind me right there. I mean, that is just bonkers. I still would like to try a long exposure, but I really do not want to set up my ND filter because that's just going to waste so much time. The only thing I can hope to do is maybe go down to ISO 64. And get 1.3 seconds at ISO 64 with the polarizer on. I don't know if that's going to do exactly what I'd want it to do, but yeah. Plus I'm kind of underexposing a little bit, which is upping my shutter speed naturally. Just I'm actually going to do a bracket here. ISO 64, which I like almost never use, but I'm trying to drag the shutter as long as possible. I mean, these colors are just something else. I really, really want to mess around with some ripples. So I'm probably going to take the camera off the tripod here shortly. Yeah, I'm going to move down actually. Looking for any sort of small details as well. With all the plant life that's just hanging out on the side of the lake here. Could be a opportunity for something neat. Ah yes, the do not feed the waterfowl sign. Maybe I can get that out of my composition. See how that looks. Alright, let's give this a shot. I don't like this one as much, but like, oh my goodness. This is just bonkers. You know what, I think I see a composition. I'm going to turn the camera around because I think I'd be crazy not to at this point. I love me a good silhouetted tree against a fire sky. I love me a little silhouetted tree against an absolutely fire sky. Let's go F8, kick it back up to ISO 100. Let's give that a rip. I mean, that just looks really cool too. So I've been trying to figure out a way to take advantage of this really, really awesome light that we have. And just as I was doing that, I spotted this lovely tree just across the field from here. And I'm zoomed in at about 200 millimeters as far as this lens will go, f8, ISO 800, underexposing just a bit. I think I'll probably crop to a 16:9. But just the form of this tree looks so lovely. The bark is all wet from all the rain, and it's got this lovely warm glow being cast on it right now, and I just absolutely love it. So small little details like that, I love picking them out of the landscape. And I mean, just this sunset refuses to quit right now, man. I didn't think we'd get anything this extravagant. And I'm looking off this way, completely different story. Just a wall of gray clouds and cumulonimbus, and looks like a gnarly storm over there. But I have not heard a single instance of thunder the entire time I've been here. I keep getting my hopes up, like maybe I'll get a nighttime lightning show. There goes a tree swallow. You know, something like that. Maybe I'll get some bolts somewhere along the way, but yeah, maybe that's just wishful thinking. But I'll take this lovely scene right here, which I probably should go up and get one more frame of. There is a little bit of a breeze, and I can't really get the shutter super fast right now without like just absolutely cranking the ISO up to like 8,000. So let's see here. A little bit of blur in some of the leaves, but that's honestly fine. Like even if I go up to ISO 3200, I'm at 1/6. Yeah, it's really not making a big difference from 1/3 to 1/6. Yeah, now 2.5. Is that 1 1/4 second? I don't know. Oh yeah, I don't know. I love that. I'm actually really quickly gonna do the old put it into 16:9 in camera really quick, just to kind of help visualize what it's going to look like once I do eventually make that crop. And yeah, honestly, I like that quite a bit. I might tilt up a tad. All right, tilting up just a tad. Get some of the grass at the bottom just completely out of frame. Yeah, that sunset is still going. Probably don't need to underexpose anymore. Definitely wasn't expecting this. And I can happily say I don't think I wasted my time. I don't think it was going to be a waste of time either way, just because I love being out here. And that should really always be what it comes down to at the end of it, right? I feel like I've always put a big emphasis on photo first, and I've been doing that since probably like fall, honestly. You know, with fall color and everything, and then that really pushed me to go harder in the winter, which I definitely did, and I'm glad that I did, but it's always important to remember, you know, the main reason why, at least why you do it. It's different for everybody, of course, but I want to be able to come out here, enjoy nature as it is, and if I get photos along the way, I get photos along the way, and stop trying to put so much pressure on myself to do so. Repositioning just a tad here on this tree, moving a bit to the left so I can exclude a bit more of the sky, because if I move to the left a little bit, there's a higher hill peak that I can sort of place this tree behind, if that makes any sense. Yeah, and this guy looks absolutely lovely. I mean, look at that. I feel like I should be taking a picture of that over there, honestly, because why the hell not? That looks pretty epic. These gnarly clouds right over Quaker Lake here. Alrighty, there we go. Very simple composition here. I'm just gonna go all the way down to ISO 100. Underexpose just a tad for the sky. And let's just focus right over there. There we go. Yeah, this is just super simple. Kind of silhouetted hills and peaks over there with this just super dramatic cumulonimbus clouds and this really awesome cotton candy sunset, at least what's left of it, just hanging above it. And there's a few errant weeds that are, you can see here, all along the edge. They don't mow this, they just kind of leave all this sort of like a little buffer, riparian buffer, I guess. Probably because they don't want the mowers to get super close to the edge, which is understandable. But some of the little stalks and stuff, at least in the bottom left, look like they're sticking up. But if I crop in just a tad in post, or maybe just in the field here, but I kind of like that placement of that hill there. Could crop to a 16:9. As I would say, the foreground, at least the water, come on, focus. the foreground or the water is probably like the least interesting part of the photo, so I can probably get away with cropping that a decent bit. There we go. Yeah, it's just like you have these really tiny hills, and then behind it you have these mountainous clouds. And again, that color is just hard to beat. The only thing that would make this better is just one prominent bolt of lightning. That's it. That would really make that from a pretty good shot to portfolio instantly. One can hope, right? Fingers crossed. I mean, I wish I could look at the radar right now, but I'm pretty sure I don't even have service. So I think our show of light has pretty much called it quits at this point. I mean, there's still a few very, very faint bit of pink, and I can actually just see the sliver of the moon rising. Well, it's definitely already risen by now, but it's up there. Tiniest little sliver. Looks really cool, especially with those clouds. But I think I am going to pack it up and head back to the car and make my way out of here. I'm gonna have to probably stop and have my snack that I brought with me. But other than that, I think that is gonna do it. And yeah, never think of any outing as a failed outing, because I mean, today was a perfect example. I was a little upset, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little upset when I saw all those systems were moving south, but you know, I was already well on my way at that point. And if there's anything I know about this place in dramatic weather, you can't go wrong, bolts or not, you know. That I learned that last summer, or last late spring when I came here 4 days in a row. The last 2 days I was chasing thunderstorms, got them on the second day. But that first day I missed by just like 5 minutes. But I ended up taking some of my favorite photos ever that day. I mean, that whole stretch of days. So always have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. Don't have any plans, just go. That's the moral of the story, I guess. So, oh, really quickly, reminder, check out my social medias down in the description. My Facebook, my Instagram, that's where I post all of my work. Head over to my website if you want to view my work in much larger format or find out ways to purchase any of my work if you're interested. And also there's a link to my 2024 portfolio book down in the description as well. So check all those things out. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe if you want to see more. And as always, I'll see you guys around.